So good morning to you all. Thank you for being on here today. It is Monday. We're going to have good old mornings with Mike. Mike will be with us here very shortly. And the topic today is an important one. Okay. This is one that I think, especially in January, we talk about the goals, we talk about New Year's resolutions. It piggies back a little bit off of a why. My buddy Chad Free talks about this very often. This talks about this often. And I got 5 ingredients. So one of the books I read is with John Maxwell on leadership. And there was 5 ingredients to the power of purpose. Okay. How many of you, give me a thumbs up, feel that you have purpose in your life? How many of you feel that there is purpose in why you wake up this morning? There is purpose why when your alarm clock got up, you got your ass out of bed. There is purpose behind what you're doing. Now, my name is Brock Zevan. I'm a life coach, business coach, a real estate agent, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm a dad. I was a little sad today. I did not have my kids this weekend, so it was kind of like I was able to get a lot done. Clean my garage, clean up, got all the Christmas stuff in the attic. How many of you out there got your garage organized? How many of you have your closets organized, or you got your Christmas stuff up? Give me a thumbs up if you got it taken care of. Give me a thumbs up if you have been able to do some of that stuff. Hopefully, some of you, Stephanie's got hers cleaned up. Hopefully a lot of us got our guys. It's great to be organized. It's good to have a little bit of some clarity in your life. One of my coaches, Mike Ferry, used to say it's good to have your desk organized, your house organized, your office organized. So I strongly recommend, if you haven't been able to get it done. I mean, it was cold on Sunday. I had my hat on. I was like, it was my goal. I'm like, I am organizing this freaking garage. I don't care what it is. And I just threw up some music and I cleaned my garage up. I got it all organized and cleaned up, but I feel so much better accomplished to be able to do that. So, anyways, right. So the power, purpose. Okay. I want you to think about this. So, this is very important. A lot of times people start telling you stuff and they start giving you all these things. Write this down, write this bullet point down. And you're like, what the hell am I even writing down? What is this all about? Right, Karen? Like, what am I really doing? Like, let me think about this. Like, what does this mean? So it's important that you understand when I give you 5 ingredients of purpose, you got to start reflecting. Now, listen, if you don't, you're trying to figure out your purpose. Just write it down. Be like, let me think about purpose later today. When I'm by myself, what is my purpose? What gets me out of bed in the morning? What makes me stay up late at night? What makes me do things that I wasn't normally going to do? What is my purpose? Right, Karen? So here's 5 things on purpose. You're writing it down. This is important. I write down everything. That's why I always say write it down. If you're driving like Mike is, don't write it down. I don't need any liability problems. Now, here's the power of your purpose. What will purpose do for you? Number 1, purpose will motivate you. Number 1, purpose will motivate you. It will get your tail out of the bed. It will make you stay up a little bit later. There's something important about it, Christian, that the power of purpose will motivate. Number 2, this is a good one. Number 2, purpose will keep your priorities straight. How many of you start your day, man, I'm crushing it. But by freaking 11 o'clock, we're like, oh boy, the wheels are falling off. We're starting to get a little tired. Lunch takes place. Man, somebody calls me. I'm on the phone with them for an hour. Loved one needed death, but it drives me insane. I'll be like, what have you been doing? Oh, I've been talking to my friend for an hour. What? An hour? Like during the workday? Like you can't do that. Like I get all like bent out of shape over that type of stuff. And I love it, but it's not my schedule. It doesn't have talk to my friend for an hour. Like it's not part of my schedule. So because my priorities fall out of place, guys. That's why the water cooler talk, all that stuff. Some people might be like, well, Brock, it's important. I'm building a relationship. I get it. Then have it in your schedule. I'm going to talk to. Now, certain people might call you out of the blue. I get it, but you got to have your priorities in line because what happens is, how many of us have a to-do list? How many of us have a to-do list and that to-do list looks the same every freaking day? because I did my Monday. Oh, then Tuesday's the same. Then Wednesday looks the same because our priorities aren't in line. That's why purpose is important. Purpose number 3, purpose will develop your potential. Purpose will develop your potential. I was talking to Mike today. I'm going to be sharing some news here this week about my coach and I. And I'm blessed and honored. My coach is a national coach, coaches with Ed Milet. He coaches with Tim Grover, Tim Tebow. He's Grant Cardone. Like, he's on big stages. And I'm like, that's what attracted me to him, as well as personality. And so my coach called me up last week. He's like, Brock, we got to coach together in Charlotte. We're doing something in Charlotte. What are we going to do? And that's how he talks. He's very quick. And I was like, man, what do you want? But here's the thing. I told Mike, I said, man, this guy sees my potential, and it felt good. It felt warm inside, like what I'm doing. Because think about it. How many of you have potential inside of you right now that you're not opening up? Les Brown says this: the highest potential sits in the graveyard. The highest potential sits in the graveyard. It is all around there because people did not live to their potential. Get around people who that can help you with your potential. That's why I want my coach. He's helping me with my potential, my power of my purpose and potential. Number 4, a purpose will give you power to live in the present. The purpose will give you power to live in the present. How many of you remember what you did Saturday at 2:00 this past weekend? Think about it. Some of your eyeballs are going to the left. Like, what was I doing? How many of you were doing, what were you doing? Now, 2 weeks ago is different because it was Christmas, but 4 weeks ago, Saturday at 2:00, what were you doing? Sometimes we forget these things, okay? One of the biggest reasons, well, there's many reasons, but why I love not drinking anymore is because I remember everything. Like Wendy would be like, we would get done in a party or with a bunch of friends. Just tell Brock, because he remembers everything, because he's the only coherent one. And so like they would tell me things. I'd be like, no, you did not do that. Trust me. You actually got on the bar and did that. I was there. Like, I'll remember these things. But what I've learned is you have to live in the present. Many of us are already forecasting the rest of the week. What do I got going on? I can't wait for this. I used to do this with my kids. I used to say to my kids, oh gosh, I just can't wait for Bryce to be crawling. I can't wait for Bryce to be walking. I can't wait for Bryce. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, Bryce, slow down. And I have really good conversations with Mike about where his kids are. And I'd be like, hey, Mike, how's your Christmas? How's this? He's like, well, it's all right. It's like, my kids are grown up. I'm just, it's another day almost with my wife and I, because my kids are grown up. I've missed that. And so when I hear people say that, it resonates with me to live in the present. Good or bad, I live in the present. I live in the moment because I'm purposeful of my time, of where I'm at. It helps me engage at a higher level. And number 5, and then we're going to bring Mike on. Number 5, a purpose will help you evaluate your progress. Now, guys, I don't know why he put this last, but I think it's the most important. A purpose will help you evaluate your progress, Sandy. A purpose will help evaluate your progress. So one of the biggest things when I'm coaching people and they tell me what they got going on and they tell me what they're going to do, and I say, well, how are you going to measure that? How are you going to grade yourself on your success? How does that look? How do you grade yourself, Claudia, on where you are from last week to this week? Amy, how do you grade yourself? See, in school, by a show of hands, in school, did we get a letter grade? All right, you did an A. You're smart. If you got a D, you're dumb, right? I mean, that was the stereotype of what it is. I mean, you got a letter grade, or I don't know about you. How many of you had numbers? I had numbers. I hated numbers. I liked letter grades because I could come up with a range, but I'm like, Mom, it's a B. Like if it was like an 84, it literally was an 84. Like I was always on the high side of my grade. Mom, I think that's even a B plus. I think the teacher meant to put a B plus on that. Like, I'm pretty sure of that. Like I was able to like negotiate a little bit more of my grade. Like it wasn't a low B, it wasn't a high B, like it was a B, and I was always on the high side. But when I got a number grade, it was like to the point. I was like, damn, that really is a 64, isn't it? Like it was always like, but you got to measure yourself. How does Glenn measure himself? How does Brenda measure herself? How does Christian, Stephanie, all of you on here, how do you measure yourself? How do you know you have a good week? What does that look like to you? And then I'll ask you, do you grade yourself daily? I grade myself every night. I give myself a grade. How did I do? Brock, check in. Let's see what you did. I'm always aiming for 80% of my 80% of my schedule. That is the highest people who are successful hit their schedule 80% of the time. Guess what most people do though? I think we can flip-flop it and understand most people are at 20%. Most people are at 20% of hitting their goals. When you take a look at your calendar and we say, okay, how is it today? Your calendar, like, well, you won't believe what happened. But this was a good one, Brock. You won't believe what happened. I got stuck here. This took place. Okay. So you got to be able to evaluate your progress, to be able to check in with yourself, to be able to have that conversation and be like, how did I do? And be honest with yourself. Now, Sandy put on here, Stephanie put on here, being hard on yourself. You got to be cautious with being hard on yourself. We're our worst critic. Okay. I need to lose weight. I need to do this. And we always talk in the negative sense. Okay. Instead of I need to lose weight, I need to eat healthy. Okay. We got to change our mindset, the way that we look at things to be able to help you out, to be able to put yourself in a better position. One of my clients is in a financial situation. I just say, keep thinking every day what it's like to make $20,000 a month. Think, but Brock, I'm not making that. I know you're not, but I want you to think about what it's like to make $20,000 a month. And then it happens. And I say this not to impress, but like, that's what happened to me. I was broke as a joke. And my coach is like, you need to pretend you're making $20,000. $20,000. I don't even know. Like, I was a school teacher. I mean, hell, I was probably making like 30,000 a year. But you got to start thinking that way in order to feel that way. And then somehow miraculously, that's why I love the book, The Secret. Strongly recommend it. It happens. So 5 things that I'm going to bring Mike on to talk about his purpose. A purpose will motivate you. A purpose will keep your priorities straight. A purpose will develop your potential. A purpose will give you power to live in the present right now. I always talk about now money. Live right now. And number 5, a purpose will help evaluate your progress. Now, why I love when Mike talks is because Mike gives you another perspective, because it's important to have different perspectives on what it is, because my brain is a freaking whack job. Okay. When he tells Brock, not everybody thinks that way. You're wired differently, Brock. I'm like, I know, but what else am I supposed to do? Like, when you're in a problem though, you like the way I think, and Brock, what do you think about this? So I love his perspective, and we also have the same personalities, but he gives you a different perspective. Also, he's in a different season in his life. So, Mr. Kastner, I'm going to bring you on. He is driving here today. He is going to grab his cell phone as he's not going to get in an accident. What's up, buddy? How are you doing?
I like that. I'm in a different season. That's such a polite way of putting it. I'm an old guy. So,
I've learned to use that word season anymore. I'm in a different season. I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm in a different season right now, Mom.
So first of all, I said, man, that was really good. So you got potential. That is such a great word, because you're so right. That line about the graveyard is full of potential. It's so true, because you can have all the potential in the world, but if you don't have a purpose in what you're going through, you just wander around. There's no focus. So when I think of purpose, I think of like the real estate term of why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? You get to the why of what I'm trying to achieve, because if you don't know why you're doing it, then when you go after something, it's harder to achieve. I think of, like, again, you said losing weight. I'm like, if you're saying, hey, I want to lose weight, or I want to get in better shape, or feel better, work on my health, whether it's that, or whether it's I want to be more successful in real estate. Why? Why do you want to do it? Well, I want to lose weight because, people looking at myself, I think I'm a little overweight, and I think, I'd be better, and people say you should lose this, and BMI says that. I'm like, okay, well, you don't have a strong enough purpose to motivate you to the level where you're going to succeed. All you're going to do is get frustrated. So if you're going to do something, do it with purpose. And like Brock says, you make a plan. His thing is big on scheduling. I get that. Yep, mine's a little more flexible than his is. But again, you've got to have a plan, because if you're not making a plan, how are you going to get to where you're going to fulfill what your goal is? So to me, purposefully, when you work or perform purposefully, it's like you have a purpose in mind that is a reason to motivate you to do what you're trying to get done, what you're trying to achieve. So I'm a strong advocate, because again, how many times people have potential? And I think of people throughout my life who've had the potential to be very successful, and I look at them who didn't maybe achieve what I felt like they could have achieved, or even they thought they could have achieved. And it's funny you said that, because it comes down to, why do I feel like that? It's because one thing, you look at Brock, and we were talking this morning about his coaching. I said, oh yeah, no doubt in my mind you're going to be successful, because you attack things with a purpose. You do it intentionally, purposefully. So you don't just like, well, maybe I'll get on the phone, maybe I'll do this. It's like, again, you've got a plan. You have a why of what you're trying to achieve. So all this to say is, when I hear you say, go at things purposefully, you go at it with a plan of why you're trying to achieve what you're trying to do. Lay out a plan to get there and focus on that plan. And I said, like 1 second here is in real estate, and bring it around to real estate. We all know these are trying times. You know, this is the winter where a lot of people are going to start dropping off, and you see agents. And even when I'm talking to them, there's a lot of frustration, a lot of people want to give up. But I said, which is interesting for me, and I'm not saying this to brag, but I'm really having a much, much better year than I ever thought I would. I was telling Brock, I got closing last 2 weeks ago. I got a closing coming up in 2 weeks. We're going under contract. I think they'll accept our offer today on another offer. Plus our property management business blowing up. Why? Because here's what I say. I'm going at this with purpose. When this started to happen, I said, I'm not going to get distracted by everything that's going on around me. Because the stuff is going on around me. Interest rates are going up. It is this. But you know what? I have a plan. I have a why of what I'm trying to achieve, a plan about how I'm going to do it, and I attack it daily, purposefully. So I have a list of things I got to get done today. It's like, I don't care if interest rates are going up. I don't care this and that, but I just keep doing it over and over and over, because I know the plan works. But if you just say, hey, and nothing against Wendy, but if you say, hey, I'm just going to talk to somebody for an hour, maybe that works for her. Maybe that is her purpose. But I hear what Brock's saying is, it's like, are you going to achieve the results you're trying to achieve, when at the end of the day, when you look back at what you've accomplished and you didn't get what you wanted to accomplish because you didn't go at your objectives with a purpose? So I think it was a great thing you had today, Brock. So awesome.
Well, thank you for your perspective as well, because it's so a couple things that I wrote down when Mike was talking, and then remind me, I'm like, the book that I'm writing is My Mess to Success. And it talks about my life and what happened to me during my drinking stages and my pain I was in. And so there's 3 parts to my formula, and it's pain, purpose, and a plan. And so one of the things that I put into the chapter towards the end was because I get a question of like, all right, because like, do I always have to go through pain in order to have purpose and have a plan? And I started thinking about that. I started doing some more brainstorming about it and just really marinating on those thoughts. And when you said it, I was like, you know what, Mike, this reminded me when I took the pain, because I don't want to go through pain every single time to have a purpose and have a plan and go through that. I'm like, gosh, what could I do? And so what I started to change and started to write down was I removed pain, because there's many of us who actually are proactive. We think ahead, and I removed pain and I put potential. And I put potential right there. And I said, now the new formula is using my potential with putting purpose behind it and putting a plan in place. And so that has been my new way of doing things. So I don't have to endure pain. Yes. Am I going to have pain? Yes. But I don't have to go to the extreme low of where I was in my addiction, in my health, in my financials, credit score at 512, barely able to freaking afford diapers. Like, I don't like that pain. That was like a little too much. We were driving by yesterday, or in Denver, No joke, guys. This is pretty funny. We were laughing. So Wendy and I were coming back home from this dinner party, and she's like, "Oh, Brock, in this part of the lake, this is where I was selling some new construction and this development over here, and over here, this is where my family and I used to go out to dinner." And I was like, "Oh, look at this. This is where my car was repossessed over here on the left, and I had no idea where my car was, and I found it over here. Did you know that there's this where they take the cars to get repossessed?" And we started hysterically laughing, like, oh, on the right side is bliss. On the left side, this is where the shit happens. And like they take you over here. And that's where my car was repossessed. Like you couldn't find it because they actually have like a black, if the gate is blacked out. Like I was like, I remember climbing over the fence, trying to find my car. It was like, and so it brought me back to like the pain. Like I don't want to go through that pain side of things, guys. So like replace pain with potential, with a purpose right there. And then you got a plan in place. And so those are the key ingredients that I wanted to share with you. And Mike, thank you so much. And I hopefully I was at a little entertainment for you guys today about some of my pain that I was in. But that's what it's about, guys. Okay. It's plain and simple. Now, here's the thing. Well, Brock, how do I do this? How does this come into play? Okay. If you're working by yourself, I need you to write down environment. You need to be looking at your environment, who you around, what do you got going on? I was telling Mike today, I'm going to be blessed and honored to be able to have lunch with Bill Gallagher. Bill Gallagher is a big time person who took our real estate career and has his Superior School of Real Estate that's been around for a long, long time. And so him and I are having lunch this week. And so you have to surround yourself with high level people to elevate your potential. Because when people are around me, they're like, Brock, I feel like, like Wendy feels bad, like sitting around. Like, that's not me. I don't put it on you. It's just, that's how I am. If you're around me, there's going to be a lot of energy. You're going to be doing a lot of things. If you're just sitting there and you're not on the phone and talking to people or doing emails and not busy, you're going to be like, man, I got nothing compared to this guy. And guess what happens when I go around higher level people who are above me? I'm like, damn, I'm not doing what I need to do. I need to be more fit. I need to be doing this more. I need to be doing this. So your environment, I'm going to tell you, if you're not talking, if you're not asking for people to go on Zoom, if you're not asking the people to go to lunch with you, to have coffee with you, you're not in the right environment. You're going to sit in the same place, just like Ed Milet talks about the air conditioning unit. If you set it at this level and you open up the window or you open up the door, what happens? That air conditioning unit's got to run because something is leaking out, and it's going to set itself to whatever level that you put it at, and it won't go any higher. And all these things around it, distractions, will cause you to run, but not running efficiently. So you got to be around the right people to get you in the right state of mind to work on your environment. Stop living the life that you don't want to live. I put it in the entrepreneur and the mindset quote today. At one day, when I wake up early and people are still dreaming and I'm still working and people are like, why do you get up so early? Why do you do this? Because at the very end of that quote, it says, I want to be living the dream you're still having. And so it's very, very important that if you want it bad, I told you guys on Saturday, I worked on Saturday like it was a Monday. 2023 is no joke, guys. If you still don't believe it, if you're still not feeling it, I'm just telling you, 35 to 40% of people, NAR bills came out. They're out. I know it because people tell me. They're like, hey, Brock, do you have any business you can give me to help me make my business? Because I got to pay this bill. Brock, do you have any deals? Brock, how can I get this money? What do I do? My credit cards are maxed. Do you have any thoughts and ideas? Because I know your credit cards were maxed. I was like, yeah, work, get another job, work at Harris Teeter, go to Kohl's, go to Home Depot, find a way to be able to make that money to be able to do it. That's why I figured it out Friday. I don't know. You just do it somehow, some way. I was doing crazy stuff to get to where I needed to go because I had a purpose to be able to be here today and be able to have these morning shows and to be able to have these opportunities that my coach calls me and says, I want to coach with you. When can we do it? This is a great idea. I love it. Our Figure It Out Friday is going to be live next month, and my coach is flying in. A live Figure It Out Friday with a happy hour attached. Whoa! I love the happy hour part. Even though I don't drink, it's just fun because I get to see everybody enjoy themselves. But how great is that? Living that potential, he's calling me up. So you guys had that same opportunity. Live with purpose. Get your tail out of it, whatever it is that it's in, and make it happen today. Okay? Figure it out. Somehow, some way it will work. But sitting at home, feeling sorry for yourself is not going to happen. Trust me, I was bent out of shape. I'm going to end it on this. Don't think that my phone calls over here are any better than anybody else. I was telling Wendy the other day, I'm like, it sucks on the phone. Nobody's picking up. But guess what? I don't have any of my sphere of influence, and my past clients call me up saying they're ready to buy or sell. I maybe have one or two, but to me, I would need 5 to 7. I need more. Okay. So I got to figure out how I'm going to get this business because it's middle of January. I got places to go, people to see this in the first quarter. Okay. Last time I checked, American Airlines is not giving out free tickets. I've already had to book 2 flights. They didn't say, hey, Brock, you already bought one. The other one is free. The other one's free for you. Like, that doesn't happen. Okay. So if you need to be around somebody, you need to take a look at our Power Players program, our Coaching Power Players program this month, because it's the new year. Okay. We're doing it for $147 a month. On Thursdays, you get a chance to be able to be a part of it. If you're like, no, Brock, I need a little bit more, you need to be part of our Efficiency of Time class. Our Efficiency of Time breaks down your schedule. Many people think that they have a busy schedule, and they're absolutely right. They do. They're on a rocking chair going back and forth, pretending they're busy, but not really doing anything. I'm on a wheelchair, same energy, same efforts, but I'm moving around. I get to get off the front porch. Don't mistake busyness from production. Okay. So the Efficiency of Time class, check out bz3enterprises.com, has all my coaching programs that you have out there. If you're thinking about it, now's the time to be able to get into it. All right. This Wednesday, I got my listing presentation, handling commission objections. Got it at 11 o'clock. Wednesday webinars. It's free. Okay. No excuses. That's on there. I forget what website it is. Jay's got it. I don't know. Jay will put it in the chats on both of them. Wednesday's my webinars. And then Thursday, I'm actually in South Carolina. I am teaching the South Carolina agents Thursday. So if you're interested in that, and then I'm doing another Figured Out Friday. I got a bunch going on this week. I love it though. I love it. Love this excitement. And Sandy, I got to get with you. We got to get back to lunch. Guys, Mike, brother, drive safe, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. For all of you that are on here, make it happen today. Figure out your potential. Love to be able to see you guys this week in some of my classes, some of my events, and put February 17th on your calendar. It'll be a live event starting at 4 o'clock with my coach and myself. February 17th at 4 o'clock. I'll keep you posted on some of the more stuff that we got going on. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great day. Happy Monday to you. Make it a strong week. See ya.